Hello, everyone. Welcome to Apex Hours. Today, we will be going through an introduction to Revenue Lifecycle Management, or RLM. We'll do an introduction, go through the product catalog, and pricing. So my name is Georgi Savelyev. I'm the founder and a certified technical architect, or CTA, at Stratus Carta. I've been in the Salesforce ecosystem for 10 years, including 6 years in Salesforce Industries, formerly known as Velocity. I used to be a part of the Velocity and Salesforce Industries professional services team working as a program architect across EMEA and APAC. I have 41 certifications, including 2 accredited professional credentials as well. I'm a Salesforce Certified Technical Architect, or a CTA, and I was on the team that built and maintained the Communications Cloud Accredited Professional credential. I've been involved in over 20 Salesforce Industries implementation, focusing on Communications Cloud. I'm based in Dubai in the UAE, and I am a co-leader of the Dubai Architect Group. I'd also like to introduce my colleague who will be presenting with me, Anuj.
Thanks, Georgi. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining this Apex Hour session. My name is Anuj Vaishampayan. I am a principal technical architect at Stratus Carta. I have around 15 years of telecommunication experience. I've been working in Salesforce ecosystem now more than 5 years, specifically in Salesforce Industries. I am part of Velocity, and I also worked with Salesforce around 5 years. I have around 14 Salesforce certification, including 2 AP certifications as well. I am also part of Comms Cloud AP exam, who actually build these exams and maintain as well. I have implemented around 15 plus Salesforce Industries implementation across the globe, and I am based in Dubai, UAE. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Anuj. All right, and a little bit about us. We're from Stratus Carta, and we'd like to thank Amit and the Apex Hours team. We're really happy to be here and talk to you a little bit about RLM, Revenue Lifecycle Management, and to share this content with you. A couple words about us at Stratus Carta before we get started. So we are Salesforce Industries Expert Services. We're primarily former Velocity Expert Services, also inspired by the Siebel Expert Services team as well. And we focus on solving the hardest problems in the Salesforce Industries and Revenue Lifecycle Management ecosystem, things that cause projects to fail, to be delayed, or even canceled. These are things like DevOps, design reviews, proof of concepts for new functionalities, performance and scale testing, data migration, greenfield and brownfield assessments, and more. If you'd like to learn a bit more about us, check out our website, connect with us on LinkedIn, send me a message on LinkedIn. We're happy to share a bit more about what we do and how we can help you. We included a few pictures here. So at the top left is me and my friend Tuan. We got the opportunity to present at Dreamforce last year about data modeling. On the top right, we have Anuj on the signage at Salesforce World Tour. I thought that was super cool. And then at TDX this year, we got the opportunity to meet up with David Schmeier, the former CEO of Velocity and now Chief Product Officer at Salesforce. And we also got to meet up with Arun on the bottom right, who is the SVP of Revenue Cloud and responsible for all of the great things that we'll be talking about today. All right, so let's jump into the content. In this series, we'll be going through Revenue Lifecycle Management, or RLM. We broke it down into 3 sessions. This session will be on an introduction, product catalog, and Salesforce pricing. The next session will be about the product configurator, which is the CPQ, about dynamic revenue orchestration, or DRO, and we'll do an end-to-end end user demo. And then finally, the last session will be on Salesforce contracts and document generation. So the agenda of this session is we'll do an introduction to RLM, talk about a bit of the history and how we got to RLM, what it was inspired by. We'll go through the product catalog management module, or PCM, and see a demo, go through Salesforce pricing and see a demo, and finally wrap up with some resources on how you can get hands-on and how you can get enabled. So let's go through the introduction. So Revenue Lifecycle Management is a CPQ tool, and it was inspired by some of the previous CPQ products that Salesforce has available and has acquired in the past. So there were 2 companies. There was Velocity and SteelBrick. Velocity was a company that was founded in 2014 by David Schmeier, who was the former CEO of Velocity and is now the Chief Product Officer of Salesforce. The focus of Velocity was really industry-specific CRM solutions, kind of similar to the CRM industry verticals within Siebel. And Velocity was more than just a CPQ. It covered a lot of other areas. So the functional modules include the product catalog and CPQ, MACDs for doing modifications on things that you've purchased, assets and services that you've purchased in the past. There was an order management module, contract lifecycle management, document generation. It had a feature-rich set of APIs. There was Omni Studio, an automation tool, and industry-specific data models. So Velocity was a CPQ product, but it was also a lot more. Data model, automation suite, order management, more than just a CPQ. Now, Velocity was acquired by Salesforce in 2020, and then a lot of what was formerly known as Velocity has been merged into what is now known as Salesforce Industries. So, for example, Communications Cloud, that is basically what was formerly the Velocity Communications vertical. And then this includes Data Model, Omni Studio, CPQ, Order Management. Now, on the SteelBrick side, SteelBrick was founded in 2009. This is a primarily CPQ tool. It also includes functionality around contract amendments, kind of the equivalent of MACD, document generation, and there is a basic set of APIs. Now, Salesforce CPQ can integrate with a few other products as well. So it can integrate with Salesforce order management and other things, but really the core of Salesforce CPQ, which was formerly SteelBrick, was the CPQ product. So kind of different than Velocity. Velocity really covered multiple areas, whereas CPQ is really focused on the CPQ piece. SteelBrick was acquired by Salesforce in 2015, 2016, and it was rebranded from SteelBrick to Salesforce CPQ. And this is an add-on that sits on top of Sales Cloud, and it provides CPQ capabilities to enhance the sales process and can integrate with a few other products, Salesforce Billing, Order Management, a few other things. So there's something called, in the software SaaS industry, there's something called the Gartner Magic Quadrant. This is a way to evaluate different vendors and different products in terms of their ability to execute and completeness of vision. Basically, if you're evaluating different platforms, this is a good first place to start to see kind of what are all of the key players and how do they compare against each other. So if we look at what was formerly Velocity, which is now Salesforce Industries CPQ, we can see that it's here on the right-hand side, where as we go to the right, these tools or vendors have better completeness of vision. As we go up, they have a better ability to execute. So Velocity has which is now a Salesforce Industry CPQ, has a better completeness of vision, but it could improve a little bit on the ability to execute. Whereas if we look at SteelBrick or Salesforce CPQ, here it's kind of flipped. It has a good ability to execute, but it could improve a bit on the completeness of vision. Now, RLM is a new product. It is not on the Magic Quadrant yet. Maybe it will be there in the 2024 Magic Quadrant, maybe 2025. And kind of the hope and expectation in the ecosystem is it will bring the best of both worlds and get us closer to the top right-hand corner. Let's see what the future brings us in terms of that. So now that brings us to Revenue Lifecycle Management, or RLM. So RLM was officially generally available, or GA, as of the 13th of February of 2024. And then there was a press release on the 17th of June 2024 that mentioned that there are some customers in the professional services and software industries. If we look at the right-hand side, we have some screenshots from the publicly available marketing material, and you can see that the way that this product is licensed is it's a bundle that includes all of the things that we're going to be talking about in this series. So the product catalog, the pricing, the configurator, contracts, the business rules engine, et cetera. This isn't just a CPQ tool, but it includes kind of all of the things that are around the whole CPQ or revenue journey, and it includes Omni Studio as well. So the key takeaway here is this isn't just a standalone piece that you purchase, you kind of buy this whole suite of products that is tightly integrated and works together. And this is how it's sold as of today, August 2024. Please do talk to your Salesforce account team to get the latest prices and latest packaging on it. Another point of confusion is there's something called Revenue Lifecycle Management, and you may have heard of something called Revenue Cloud. What is the difference between them? So Revenue Cloud is a suite of products offered by Salesforce, and then Revenue Lifecycle Management is a product within that suite, specifically that does CPQ and order management, which integrates with a few other products such as Salesforce Contracts, and maybe some other products in the future. Potentially, we could see an integration with Salesforce billing or some other products as well. Just to avoid confusion around the naming and branding, we'll kind of refer to all of this stuff as RLM to keep it simple. But just remember that RLM specifically is focused on kind of the CPQ and order management piece. It integrates with Salesforce contracts, then may have integrations with some other stuff in the future. Now let's see what are the different modules or functionalities that make up RLM. So the foundation of RLM is the Salesforce platform. This is what we know and love with the standard objects, the ability to create custom objects, custom fields, all of the great automation tools like Flow, Apex triggers, LWCs, etc. That's the part and core and foundation of what RLM is built on top of. The next layer is Omni Studio. So Omni Studio was formerly part of Velocity and has been migrated into Core in terms of both the data model and business logic. This is a richer suite of automation tools that bring you more power than what you get with screen flows and record triggered flows. Then we have Sales and Service Cloud. RLM kind of sits on top of especially Sales Cloud. So Sales Cloud brings us great things in the sales space like opportunities, opportunity forecasting, all of that stuff that gives you power to drive your sales process. Service Cloud is the equivalent on the service side. So this gives you the ability to manage support cases, work orders, service appointments, all of that great stuff. RLM primarily sits in the sales space because it is really tightly integrated with your quoting and ordering process, which is more on the Sales Cloud side, but it can also be involved with the Service Cloud side of things where the end result of an order in RLM will be some assets. Customers could raise a support case against an order asking, hey, why is my order delayed or what's the status? Or they could raise a support case against an asset because it's not working, that sort of thing. So RLM can play in both spaces, but it's more on the sales side than on the service side. Then we get to the real parts of RLM itself. So we start with a product catalog. This is where you define the products, the prices, everything that will be used at runtime by the sales rep when they're actually doing the whole quoting and ordering process. So the product catalog is broken into a few submodules. There's product catalog management or PCM, which is responsible for the products, their attributes, their structure. We have Salesforce pricing, which is responsible for the pricing of all the stuff in PCM. And then we have Business Rules Engine or BRE, which is actually used in the other two pieces, but it can also be used as a kind of standalone module as well. So all of these things kind of play together to build up your commercial products. What are we selling to the customer for what prices? What can they configure about those products, et cetera. That is all defined in the product catalog. Then we get to the runtime side of things, what our actual sales and service agents are working with. So we start with the CPQ or configure price quote. That then has a few submodules. There's the product configurator. This is the UI that you use to configure a quote or an order. And then we have quote and order capture. This is kind of the end-to-end process of configuring your quote and order, which would involve the product configurator and other things as well. Then we have Salesforce contracts, which includes contract lifecycle management and document generation. Technically, this is kind of its own standalone module that is at the same level as RLM itself, but typically this would be used in an implementation where you configure a quote or an order, then you use Salesforce contracts to generate a document based on that quote and order, and you convert the quote and its line items or order and its line items over to a contract with line items as well. So effectively, it's kind of a submodule of CPQ. Then on the order management side of things, the output of CPQ is a quote or an order. That order is then submitted to order management, which is called Dynamic Revenue Orchestrator or DRO. And then that has two submodules. There's decomposition to break it into smaller parts that will be fulfilled independently. And then there's orchestration that will figure out what we need to do in each system to actually fulfill that order. Then in the product catalog for DRO, there's the design time side of DRO. So this is how a product fulfillment manager, product manager would define what are all of the steps involved in fulfilling a commercial product. So that's an extension of the product catalog. So basically the product catalog is where your product managers and fulfillment managers are defining your products, how they're sold, how they're fulfilled. The CPQ and DRO is the actual runtime logic of your sales and service reps creating, configuring quotes, and getting them fulfilled. So let's look at how all of these pieces fit together in a typical journey. So in the product catalog, we have the product catalog management PCM, Salesforce pricing, business rule engine, and the DRO design time. So this is where, again, the product managers and fulfillment managers would define your products, how they're commercially sold, and how they're fulfilled. That then feeds the CPQ. The CPQ involves the product configurator, quote and order capture, and again, Salesforce contracts. Technically, this is kind of a separate module, but typically it will be part of your CPQ process. The CPQ is where your sales reps will generate a quote, which will become an order, and then that order is submitted to DRO, aka order management, so dynamic revenue orchestrator, that will take your commercial order, break it down into smaller technical orders via decomposition, and then orchestrate all of the steps that are involved in fulfilling that order. DRO will ultimately generate assets, and then those assets can be changed by something that's called amend, renew, cancel, or ARC. That will then take the end result of DRO, which is a set of assets, and convert it over to a quote and order in CPQ, and then this cycle can continue as you do modifications to your assets. So that's kind of how all of these different modules play together. And in this section, we will be talking primarily about the product catalog, specifically all of the things except for the design time piece of DRO. And the next sessions will cover CPQ and DRO and contracts as well. Okay, so we've discussed a few different CPQ tools. There's Industry CPQ, formerly Velocity, Salesforce CPQ, formerly SteelBrick, and now RLM. How do all of these things fit together? How do you select between them? So as of August 2024, the core question you need to ask yourself is, which industry are you as a customer working in? And then ultimately, it doesn't really matter. The key thing you should do is talk to your Salesforce account team. They are the best ones to help guide you on which of these products you should use. Now, Revenue Lifecycle Management, RLM, is quite a new product. It just came out in February of this year. We assume that this is kind of dynamic and may change in the future. Kind of what we've seen historically prior to RLM coming out was that the selection process was like this. You ask yourself which industry you're in. If you're in the communications, media, or energy space, then you would go with industry cloud. So communications, media, or energy and utilities cloud. And then those clouds have industry CPQ as a component of it. But again, you can't buy industry CPQ standalone. It would be part of the industry cloud. And then again, historically, if you were in a different industry, then you would typically go for Salesforce CPQ. But again, if you are a new customer or if you're an existing customer and you want to understand how RLM fits into this whole equation, please talk to your Salesforce account team. They're the best ones to help guide you through this decision. And then in general, we see a lot of similarity and inspiration in RLM based on what was available in industry CPQ. So we did kind of a dictionary of the mapping of the features or functionalities that we see in RLM to the kind of equivalent feature functionality that we see in industry CPQ or Velocity. So if we start from the top, the product catalog management or PCM module, this is equivalent to the enterprise product catalog. EPC specifically, where we can define products, attributes, the product structure, cardinalities, etc. Then we have Salesforce pricing. This is basically the pricing piece of EPC, where we can define price books and all of the pricing related stuff. Then we have the design time part of dynamic revenue orchestration or DRO. That's equivalent to the design time part of OM, which would sit in the EPC. On the CPQ side, CPQ is CPQ in both. The UI is called the product configurator within RLM, which is equivalent to the LWC cart, ESM cart, AngularJS cart in industry CPQ. So this is kind of the UI layer. Business rules engine in RLM is equivalent to Omni Studio, specifically calculation procedures and calculation matrices. And then in industry CPQ, you can actually leverage BRE nowadays as well. So in industry CPQ, you could leverage the decision matrices and procedures that are available in BRE. Then Salesforce contracts is equivalent to the Velocity CLM or contract lifecycle management. DRO, or dynamic revenue orchestration, is order management, or OM. And then MACDs, move, add, change, disconnect, from industry's CPQ, is now known as amend, renew, cancel, or ARC in RLM. So that was it for the intro. Hopefully that gives you a bit of context and background on what is RLM, what are the other CPQ tools, kind of how did we get to the situation of RLM, and what builds up RLM. So that was the introduction. In the next section here, Anuj will take you through product catalog management.
Thanks, Georgi, for the insightful session and intro on the RLM. Now we will talk about the product catalog management, PCM. So this is basically a central piece or centralized data for any CPQ implementation, where where the product managers, technical managers, configure products, manage product lifecycle, configure the design time information inside the product catalog management. So today we will go through the entities, key features under the product catalog management for RLM, and we will at the end we will see the demo as well. So let's start with the key features of product catalog management. So it has catalogs, dynamic attributes, product classification, products, qualification rules. We will go through each one of them in following slides, and we'll go through the functionality of each and in detail, and then we'll look them into the demo in more real time, how each key features behave, what are their functionalities. So let's move to the next slide. Catalogs. So catalogs basically used to organize your product into a groups where which provides easefulness for your customers to select product when or agents when they are browsing through the product. So basically you can have an example of there could be multiple versions of multiple models of laptops, desktop, accessories at a computer store, and you basically, when you want to sell these products, you want to categorize them into laptops, desktop, and accessories. So catalogs gives you the capability, so you can create and group them under each separate catalog and name them as you want to show them on the CPQ screen. For example, here you can see on the screen that this catalog name is hardware catalog, and under the catalog you have the capability to basically create categories. These categories can be of laptops, desktop, accessories, or any products which you are selling currently under your store or on your website. This also gives you the capability, you can create the hierarchy of categories under each category. So basically you can create a hierarchical structure. So here under the accessory you can see there is a subcategory as well for the MP printer. So this exact hierarchy basically will be shown on your product configurator when you are browsing through your products, and you can select these products under the each category. So that's all on the catalog and categories. Let's move to the next feature, which is attributes and categories. So attributes basically are the characteristic of any products where where you want your customer or your agent to, when they are configuring this product, they can select these characteristics, and these characteristics basically determines how the products will be configured, what features it will have. For an example, if we take an example of an iPhone, it has characteristics like colors, model, its storage, and etc. And for any laptop, you can have display screen, RAM, storage, and these will be basically the attributes for any product, and these attributes are configured inside the product catalog management. And also, when you have these attributes defined, you can also categorize them under multiple categories. So for example, there are properties for an internet, or properties for a hardware, or properties for any laptop. So you can create an attribute category. For example, there colors. So under the colors you have the attributes definition, like what colors you can define the pick list value, and you can attach that pick list value to an attribute to basically provide your customer the chance to select these value based on your attributes. And these attributes can be a different data types. It can be pick list, currency, checkbox, date time, so you and text and number. So basically this gives you the full capability of defining attributes and attributes category under the product catalog. Hope that's clear. Moving on to next, product classification. Product classification is basically a template, which provides you the capability to, group attributes under a template or group products under a template. So you don't have to configure these attributes for each of the product you have inside your catalog, or each of the structure or bundle structure or product structure you are going to sell to customer. We can understand it by an example of, assume you are again taking an example of a tech store where there are models of laptop, tablets, and each laptops and tablets have same common attributes, kind of processor, RAM and storage and screen size, right? So you don't want to create these attributes for each tablet and each laptop model. What you want to do is you create these common attributes, assign them to some attribute categories, and then assign these attributes to a product classification. So what product classification will does, it will basically work on the concept of inheritance. So when you create a product, you can assign this product classification to a product which will basically inherit all of the attributes configured under the classification. For this example, if you look into this here, there is a classification of computer, and under this product classification, we have multiple attributes like memory, batteries assigned to this product classification. And when this product classification is assigned to any of the product, assuming laptop, desktop, all these attributes under this product classification will be inherited to that product. Similarly, also product classifications give you the capability to create a common structure of a bundle or product which you can sell across different offering or different product offering. For example, if I give you an example of a telco, there are different offers on bundles, different internet speed, internet, fiber internet offers. So, but underneath there are some common products like, add-ons, internet licenses of MS365. So what you can do, basically, you can group these products under the product classification, and you can assign this product classification to different product offering or different product bundle. So what it gives you, what advantage it gives you, that you don't have to configure these product or attributes again and again and under each different product or bundles. It saves you time and effort by reusing those products, structure and attributes under the classification, and gives you the capability to maintain your product catalog efficiently. That's all about product classification. Let's move to products. So under PCM, basically you have products, two type of products, basically simple products and bundle products. These are the entities which are sellable, could be sellable or non-sellable service to the customer. Sellable, where are the commercial products which can be sold and sold by any agent and viewed by a customer. Non-sellable products depends on kind of a technical product where which are used for your fulfillment process. Okay, so under product catalog management, it gives you the capability to define two type of products, which are simple products, and which are the simple products are basically there is no hierarchy associated to these products. Bundle products are the one where you can group multiple products under a single parent and basically forms a parent-child relationship. Again, under these simple and bundle product, you can further categorize them into static and configurable products. So static means where you are not allowed to make any changes under this product. Configurable would be where you are allowed to make changes, such as make any attribute changes to the product under a bundle. When if it is a configurable bundle, you are allowed to remove a product, delete that product, configure attribute, change attribute values, right? So under the simple and bundle, you can further classify this product into static and configurable, right? So here an example, you can see the bundle looks like this in product catalog. So for example of a simple product, you can say that hazelnut flavored instant coffee. This is a static product. You cannot make change into it. You have to order it as it is, because this is how it is defined inside the catalog, right? Whereas configurable simple product would be French toast coffee grounds, whether medium or dark. So you have the choice here to select whether you want medium or dark roast, right? So that's what makes it configurable. Similarly, for bundle, it goes on the example. If you see here, it's a 5G mobile plan where you can you have options to select the products under it. Then there is an add-on, there is a long distance group. So you have, this is basically a configurable bundle, because it is giving you choice to configure that product or bundle inside the product, inside the configurator, right? So how you can define in the catalog, that is, here there is a field called product type. You can mark it as, if it is none, that it will assume that it is a simple product. If it is a bundle, then it will be, you can set it to bundle. And then there is another field which is whether it is configurable or not configurable. You can also define this in the catalog. Okay, moving on to the next feature, which is called product selling model. Product selling model, if you have come across or if you are working in Salesforce industry domain, you could relate it to basically which is called similar to which is called pricing frequency in Salesforce industry, where you can define how your products are billed or charged to the customer. So that's what product selling model is in product catalog management, where you give you define, basically when you configure the product, you define the selling model for them. So this selling model basically tells that your product, whether it is how it will be billed to the customer. So these product selling models are different different type of product models, selling models we have inside product catalog management, which are one time something where you want to charge for that product only one time when it is added to the product, added to the cart. Then you have term defined. So term defined is basically, for an example, you are buying a phone with 12 months or 24 months contract. So that cost of that product will be divided into the months you are signing the contract for. So for assuming you're signing for 12 months contract, so the cost for that product will be divided into 12 months charge, which will be like monthly charge around for 12 months. So you will be billed each month an MRC for that phone. Then third option is evergreen. So evergreen is something, it's a kind of a subscription which recurs until you cancel for that product. So for an example, there could be a Netflix subscription, right? So you are paying for this product for every month until you just one day decide that I don't want this subscription, I can cancel. So until you manually call or you manually cancel this subscription, it will always bill throughout this life cycle of the product. So that's all about the product selling model. Coming to qualification rules. So qualification rules are basically, it defines, whether customer are eligible or that product is available based on some condition. There could be different criteria for these conditions, but it basically decide whether the qualification rules based on the condition will allow you to select the product on the product configurator. So there could be two types of qualification rules. One is, simple qualification rule, another is disqualification rules. So qualification rules basically tells you that, if you are satisfying XYZ conditions, you are allowed to select product or categories for that and under that under that catalog. Or if that if there is a condition which disqualify that product or category, that means you are not allowed to select them on the configuration screen, right? Default behavior for them is, your all the products and categories are by default qualified, but until you define some certain condition or qualification rules to qualify or disqualify them. Okay. What are the building blocks of this qualification rule? So basically, there is a structure for defining this qualification rules. To define this qualification rule, you basically have to use either predefined product catalog management objects, which comes with RLM, or you can create your custom objects and use them as well in your qualification rules. Second is decision table. So decision table are basically stores your input and output. So input are the one will be the data which you want your qualification rules to use that as to evaluate that rule, and based on that evaluation, output will be generated which will tell whether the product is qualified or disqualified, right? So that's how the decision tables comes in takes part in qualification rules. Then joining both of them, object and decision tables, you have to define the qualification rule procedures. So basically what it does, it's combine your, on the right side, if you can look into this is kind of a qualification procedure, which is using input parameters for that decision table, where you can see here lookup table MP product classification. So this is a table which is using input parameters, and using these input parameters, it is generating an output to decide whether this product or category is qualified or not. So product catalog management gives you this capability to define this qualification rules and rule procedures to basically qualify or disqualify products or entire category as well. Okay, moving on to next slide. So what are these product catalog management objects which is used inside when you define the qualification rule? So these are the predefined object product qualification, which the name says it all, that it is basically defined for to decide whether the product is eligible for customer to choose that product. Product disqualification is the opposite of it, whether it prevents customer to viewing of or purchasing of the specific products. Then product category qualification is when you want to qualify the entire product category based on some conditions. So you can use this object. The next is product category disqualification. So disqualification is basically you want to disqualify the entire category. You can use this object while configuring your qualification rule. Also, you have to take care of or you have to be careful around how you sequence your qualification rules, right? So you have to manually manage this sequence, because based on the sequence you have defined, these product qualification will be executed and will qualify or disqualify your products or categories during your runtime. Okay, so that's all on the qualification rules. Moving on to the next slide here, under the product catalog management, most of the entities you would see that are similar, or names are similar to what we used to have in Salesforce industry, but there are few differences in these entities, and that's what the differences we are highlighting through this slide is. When you look into the category in industry CPQ, those were all child catalogs. So in RLM or product catalog management, the name is changed, but the functionality is still same. It's category. Product selling models in industry CPQ, it was pricing frequency, velocity object types, or product specification has now new name in RLM is product classification. Virtual product is product component group, and context rules becomes qualification rules, right? So this slide will give you, you can relate some of the components name from industry CPQ. If you have worked on industry CPQ, Salesforce industry, you would be able to relate these names with the new names or the functionality of product catalog management features. Okay, so that's all on the slides. Now, it's time for real action, so we can jump on the product catalog management demo. Okay, so we saw all the components and key features through the deck. And now it's time to see it in real time. So let's jump into it. So this is RLM org, and here you can, under the app launcher, you can search for product catalog management, which will take you to the app. And here you can go into the home page where you can see all the entities which is under the product catalog management to configure. So there are like catalog, products, product classification, product selling model, configuration flows, attributes, attribute categories, pick list, rules, right? So we will start with the catalogs and see how they are configured, what are the details under it. So let's look into one of the catalog here. So it provides you the normal details, the code, who created the catalog and what type of catalog it is, and effective start and end date, basically how long this catalog will be valid, right? So under this catalog, you can create categories, as I explained earlier, right? So under these categories, you can find, different type of groupings or different type of categories you want to create. And under these category, you also have the capability to create the subcategories. Like under accessories, I have the category of printers as well, right? And from here you can have, create new categories and define the child categories as well. So let's open one of the category, and here similarly, like catalog, it also have, details tab, and you can fill out code, what type of category it is. And then if you go into the related, you will see that what are the products configured under this category, right? So this is a hardware catalog, and you can see there is laptop pro bundle, laptop, and all other products. Also, under this category, you have the capability to create the child categories from here and then assign the products for those categories as well, right? Yeah. So that's all on the catalog and catalog categories. Let's move to attributes and attribute categories. So from here, I mean, you have both the options. You can go, you can come to these pages from the product catalog homepage, or when you are under this app, you can open this drop down and select the entities you want to configure. So let's look into the attribute definitions first. Okay, so here are some example of attributes, and let's try to look into one of them. So this is the storage attribute. Here you can see the data type is pick list. It's active. The information about this attribute, what type of attribute it is, then what pick list it is using. So under pick list, you can configure the values of that pick list, and then that will be used during the runtime configuration of that product. So these attributes would be categorized or grouped under a category, which will be visible again on the product configurator, and under that category you can see the attributes configured for that. So for this storage, cloud storage attribute, there is a category called storage, and under that this attribute is assigned, right? So here you can see the attribute definition for this attribute category. And there could be other type of attribute as well. Right now it's only storage, and there could be if there is something laptop storage, or there could be any other kind of storage type, it can be configured under the same attribute category, and it can be grouped here, right? So these are the button to basically assign the attribute or unassign the attribute under a category. Okay, so hope that's clear about the attributes and attribute definitions. Let's move to product classifications. Okay, let's look into one of them, computer. Okay. Here, normal details as expected. Let's see the attributes. So as I explained in my explanation on product classifications, that here it work as a template to assign the attributes or common attributes of a product under this classification, and then you assign this classification to the product, which will inherit these attributes, right? So here are the attributes. Same way, like you can assign here, assign or unassign an attribute under a classification. And then you can see in the related tab, when you are creating a product, you will basically ask to select a product classification. So when you select the product classification, or during the product configuration, or you can assign the product coming to here, and then assign the product or add the product here. So these are the product under the computer classification. So all of these products basically will inherit all the attributes configured under this classification. Right, so computer, we looked into the computer classification. These are the attributes, and all these these products will be having all these attributes assigned to them when this product classification is assigned to that product, right? Okay, moving on to the next. Okay, so let's look into the products. Let's open one of them. So this is there could be two kind of products, as I explained. One could be simple and bundle. We are looking in an example of a bundle here right now, where you can have details, description of that product and product code, what type of product type it is, whether it is bundle or simple. You have the capability to define it here. It's commercial, technical, and whether this bundle is allowed to configure, or it's a static bundle. Here, this is the parameter where you can define that a product family, just to categorize the product. And then if you want to display any picture on the configuration screen, you can basically provide the URL of that picture here, so that it appears on the product configuration screen during the runtime. You have also the capability to define the text policy. So text policy, basically, there could be scenarios to define a text as provide a different kind of text calculation. So you can create text policies also, and define those text policies under the catalog. Then coming to the structure here, you can under the structure tab, basically you can see how this product your product is configured, or you have the capability. When you click on this plus icon, it will ask you to add component. Through this, you can add the component, and under the component, products via the same plus button. So product component group are basically, as explained, it works as a virtual product. In Salesforce industry, it is called virtual product, but here it is called product component group, which is basically acting as a container for all the products underneath this bundle. In product catalog management for RLM, it is mandatory to, when you are configuring the bundle, it is mandatory to basically create this product component group, and then only you can assign the child product for that bundle, right? So with plus signs, you can add the product component group or product under a component group, and then the lines, the solid lines represent basically hard relationship or mandatory relationship between these component and a product bundle, and the dotted line basically represent the optional relationship, where you can basically say that the mouse, printer bundle, and warranty is optional under this bundle, right? And if I click on one of this product here, you will see the interface to configure that relationship of the product, where you can uh, define the attributes or override the attributes for this product. You have basically you can define bundle based adjustment as well for this product. Then you have cardinality, which basically deals in how many number of products or how many instances of that product you want to provide under that bundle. You can create this cardinal or handle this cardinality under this relationship, product relationship screen, right? You can also see the attributes here, because this is the parent offer. There are no attributes on it, but if you look into the child components of it, any one of it, we will be able to see the attributes inherited for that product and the overridden attribute for it. So you have under a product, you have inherited attributes and then overridden inherited attributes for it. So these again, basically these attributes, as I explained, was coming from the product classification assigned to this product. And another thing you have is, in product catalogs, give you the capability to define these attribute, whether it is price impacting or not. So if any of the products you want to select, you can select and then, assign it as a set price impacting, which will mean that this attribute will go into the pricing calculation and the price will be based on this attribute. Right? So that's how you can define set the price impacting attribute under the product as well. Coming back to the bundle, there is another tab which is called pricing discount calendar, which I explained that here, it's very useful for the product managers to view what kind of discounts you have, what type of discounts you have, and how long it is valid for. Right. So in August month, if you have the capability to view this in terms of or group this view in terms of days, months, quarter, half yearly, or yearly. So I'm going to select month. So here you can see that August month there is no discount, but there is a standard bundle based discount which is starting from the September month, right? And it is here, or if you click on this link, you can go this bundle based adjustment, and you can view this record, or you can see what type of adjustment it is giving here. And if you want to view this record detail, you can go and view this record as well, right? So that's all about the product here. Now moving on to the next product selling model. So let me open it from here, product selling models. Okay, so here you can see that as I explained previously, that there are three type of product selling model. One is one-time, term-based, and evergreen, right? So let's look into each of them and how they are configured. So starting with one-time, here you can see that this one-time pricing term unit is not there because it is a one-time one-time price. And here in the related, you can basically also have the capability to define the customer region matrix, which is basically kind of a table for if you have specific prices or specific selling prices for in terms of region or any other criteria, you can define that as well for under the product selling model. Okay, going to the term-based monthly. Here you can see the pricing term is unit is months, and then the pricing term is 1 month. So basically, whenever you assign this product selling model to any product, it would be basically price for only 1 month it will be price. So you have the capability, like I was giving an example of, if there is example of when you're buying a phone on contract 12 months or 21 months, so you can define this pricing term, or you can edit this pricing term here. So I think that it's right now it's not allowing me to do it because it's in, I have to, and it's active, I have to make it draft, then I can allow it, then I'm allowed to make any changes. Because this entity is active, I cannot. So but the point is, I mean, here you can go and define or edit your pricing term for that product selling model. Similarly, it is evergreen monthly. You would be see, like, pricing the months. Here you can define the longer duration for this evergreen. It will work, as long as the product is active. You can define based on that. Similarly, yearly, and quarterly. So it depends on what are your use cases, what business cases you are dealing with. You can create those or how you want to bill your customers. You can create those selling model based on that criteria. Okay, moving to the next is qualification rules. Here, so let's open one of them. Okay. So qualification rules, as I explained, like it's two part basically. It will not work only when you define the qualification rules. You also have to create qualification procedure to use that group, right? So in this qualification rule record, what it does is that what input data it is taking it. So you have product ID, parent product ID, root product ID, product ID. It's, if it's kind of a bundle or simple, depends on how you want to enter this. But if it is a bundle, then you have to define these, all of them. If it is simple, you can just provide a product ID. Then the actual criteria. So for this rule, this decision table, the column is max number of employees or minimum number of employees. It could be also any other criteria, kind of upper bound or lower bound column, where it will check the condition whether that value falls under these range, and then if it falls, then it's qualified returned as a true, right? So this table will be used due under the qualification procedure. So let's look into the qualification procedure as well. Okay, so this is the qualification procedure. One important thing to note here is that the context definition, what context definition it is using. So when you are configuring this configuration procedure, it is very important to select, it is mandatory to select the context definition. And on what basis you will select the context definition depends on your business case, like, right, what data you want to use for that product qualification, what kind of source data you want to bring in to evaluate this tool, right? So based on that, you have to select the context definition. So let's look into this. So folks who have worked on VRE or know about VRE, they would be aware of expression sets. This is something similar here. This is an expression set, and you can configure, like I told, that I have defined the qualification rules with the decision table and the context definition. So how you will know that what context definition it is taking in here. When you open the resources, you would be able to see that what data it is bringing in. So you can see from the account ID, contact ID, number of employees it is bringing in, catalog ID, and basically this data is being used inside this qualification procedure. It will take the product ID, then it will look into this input table. It will bring the number of employees, minimum and maximum, and basically evaluate this, run this procedure during the runtime, and evaluate the input data coming in, and make a decision whether it's the product is qualified or not. So that's how the qualification procedure works. Coming back to the screen again. So hope that's the thing is clear on qualification rules and qualification procedure, which bring me to the conclusion of the product catalog management. Okay, so now we are moving on to the next module, which is Salesforce pricing. So let's talk about what is Salesforce pricing. So Salesforce pricing is basically gives you the capability to streamline or optimize your pricing strategy. It also gives you ability to customize your price, your adjustment, and you create your custom formulas to reach on to your final net price of that product. It basically uses different pricing calculations, different pricing elements, context mapping for as an input, and or using all of them, it basically ensures that your prices are yeah, defined properly in the system. Then it during runtime, it also ensures that your products are priced correctly. uh, there are different kind of roles under the sales of pricing, which can be supported here for different kind of categories. For example, price management involves price admins, designer, analyst, demand managers. Price optimization is done by demand managers, pricing analyst. And price monitoring normally is done by the executives, like account managers or CFOs. And then price execution is the one where your sales reps or buyers are involved in buying the products, and then that's where your price execution happens. uh, it on my right side is basically is the design time home page, application page, where you have all the entities where you can configure them. We will look them in detail when we are doing the demo for it. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. Uh, this slides basically explain the key features of Salesforce pricing. Those are basically context service, pricing procedure, pricing rules, adjustment schedules, discount calendar, pricing recipe, omnichannel pricing, flows to invoke that pricing, third-party integration, and cost book and price book. So this all features makes what Salesforce pricing it is what it is. And we will go through each one of them in the following slides, starting with the context service. So context service, let's understand it by an example that each business application during runtime execution needs some kind of input data to work on, right? So similarly, that context service provides that input data to pricing to work on the execution and price that product correctly. There are there are few entities under context service where you have to define which makes it as a context service. And pricing, basically your pricing procedures use this context service to price that product correctly. So it's kind of act as a layer in between your which is used during your design time and execution as well, which gives you basically your input to input to pricing procedure to work on the data which is used to price your products. Okay, so that's the context service. So let's dig it into into more detail for this context service, what it is consists of, how you can define the context service. Okay, so let's start with context definition. Context definition is basically it provides you common hierarchical or canonical layer to connect various pricing element or data sources which is supplied inside your pricing procedures. So here on my right side you can see that's that's kind of a hierarchical or canonical structure, which is telling which is basically adding the nodes. You are creating the nodes under how you want your data to flow under each node, right? And then this nodes will be used for as an input for the pricing. right? And then after defining your context definition and nodes, you have to define context mapping. So under those nodes, basically you also have to define the attributes for basically, there could be number of fields or number of inputs you want to use for your to supply to your pricing to work, or to work on the pricing, right? So for that, you have to tell the context definition where to fetch the data from. So that's where the context mapping comes into the picture. What it gives you, that the ability to map your nodes and attribute to actual Salesforce object, standard object, or fields, or custom object or custom fields, right? So here on the left side, you can see are the nodes and attributes defined under the card context definition, and on the right side are the actual objects and fields we want to get the data from. So these connections shows that the card node is connected to the quote object, and under the car node, the attribute card price book is mapped to the price book to ID, which is getting the data directly from that quote object, right? So that's how you create your canonical structure, and then you create a map to get the data mapped to those nodes from your standard or your custom objects, right? So hope this context mapping is clear, because when we look into the demo, we will look into in more details, and I will show you how that is mapped and how this looks like. I hope that will make it more clear. Okay. uh, so after defining your context service, your context definition, context mapping, you have to define the decision tables. So decision tables are basically used for your business rules, your pricing rules, your discounting rules. So you have to basically define what kind of input data you are going to store in the decision table. So you have to basically map those field names, whether it is input type, what kind of data type these fields have, and the conditions for this. And finally, once you map your all columns, data types, input, and then you decide what output you would need from that decision table, right? And then this decision table will be used during your design time when you are defining the rules, and also in the execution when you are when pricing is executing and evaluating these conditions to basically get the final price of the product. For an example, you can think of volume discount table, whether you define the columns, and the rules under it. So you, for example, a laptop or a product is purchased, the quantity of that product you want to have it between 10 or 100 units, and then you provide the discount based on these units purchased. It could be 10% discount or x% discount. So basically this data is stored inside the decision table to work on the runtime, and then provide an output or final discount type or final price from the decision table. So folks who have worked on Salesforce industry can relate these decision tables to our pricing metrics, which which are used for attribute based pricing, and also you can relate it has some kind of similar functionality, but it is in decision tables are kind of more had broad coverage. In RLM, it also deals with your configuration rules, qualification rules, and pricing. So it is broader scope in under RLM. Okay. So moving on to the next feature, which is pricing recipe. So pricing recipe basically enable users to create and manage detailed pricing strategies. These recipes basically what it does, it basically tie up your objects and your lookup tables. So it tells what kind of lookup tables will be used during this pricing execution. So you can, here an example is, all under this default recipe, NGP default recipe, we have price book entries, volume, tiered, and other decision tables, which will be used during the pricing calculation of a product, right? So there are some predefined pricing recipes available with the RLM org. If you spin up your org with partner benefit, there are some predefined, but you also have the capability to create your custom pricing recipe, and your custom assign your custom decision tables under the pricing recipes and use that for your pricing. So it's you can use it in both ways, standard way, and also if you want to customize, you can customize your for as per your solution. Okay, moving to the next, pricing procedure. So pricing procedure is basically a customized or ordered stack of pricing elements used to calculate the final price of the product. So on if you see on my deck that these elements which I am highlighting are called pricing elements, and under each pricing element you can define what kind of input parameters are coming in, what conditions you want to execute under each element, and what would be the output of that element. So these elements you can order doesn't matter. It basically you depends on your use case or solution, how you want to price that product, and based on that you have the full capability to customize this pricing procedure according to your use case. And when the execution or during the runtime, it will basically go through each step of this procedure to finalize a price of that product. It depends. It could be 4-step, 5-step, or it could be a long step complex structure of this procedure. Depends on your use case. But this pricing procedures give you the capability to work on your standard object. You can totally customize it. You can use custom objects to run your pricing through. So it's quite vast and quite robust solution to execute your pricing. Again, I just want to do a small comparison between how it relates to Salesforce industry. So folks who have worked on Salesforce industries, you can relate to when you configure pricing, you have your pricing plan, right? Under pricing plan you can create different pricing step. You have your some standard pricing plan step, and then you can customize, add some custom pricing plan step also. Similarly, uh, in RLM, product catalog management, you can use these elements and order them or customize their order, and during the execution each element will be executed according to its condition and will result into the final price. Okay, hope that's clear on the pricing procedure, how it's behave, what are the elements it use. Okay, moving on to the next are price book and cost book. So price book, I think it's quite folks working on Salesforce, they should know like what are price books. It's basically standard price book which helps you to define your selling price of the product. So you can create a different kind of price book. Under each price book you can create an entry for that product and define its selling price for the product, right? So basically when your products are added to the CPQ card, it will take based on your pricing procedure, it will take the list price from here, and if there is some custom price, then it will take the custom price from any other object. So but price book and price book entries basically hold your predefined or selling price in the system. On the other hand, cost books are basically it tracks your expense associated while for creating that product or that fulfilling or service. So product managers or account managers basically they have two types of prices defined in the system. One is cost what is the cost they for that product when they are purchasing for any third party vendor or something, someone else, and when they define it, and then on top of that they add their margin and make a price which is called selling price, which you will find under the say price book or price book entries, right? So that's how you can define price book and cost book as well, and there could be two prices. One is could be a cost and one is selling price, and there could be a margin between both of them which can also be calculated in the pricing, right? Yeah. So hope this concept is also clear to you. Moving on to the next slide, pricing adjustment schedules. So these pricing adjustment schedules are nothing but kind of the adjustments you provide to the customer or promotions and discounts you provide to the customer during the calculation of the price. These pricing adjustments which are defined in your catalog will be used to calculate what kind of discount or adjustment you are giving for that product, and helps you to during the execution of price to determine the final price of that product. So you can define three types of adjustment under product catalog management. One is attribute based adjustment, volume based adjustment, and third is bundle based adjustment. We will go to in each one of them in detail in the following slides. Let's move on. So first, let's discuss what is bundle based adjustment. So bundle based adjustment basically helps your customers buy or sell product as as a set or as a group. um, an example could be a laptop pro bundle in this screen. So where uh, you have the laptop pro, you want customer to buy a laptop pro bundle, but you also want to give a discount when customers buys printer bundle under, which is a child of laptop pro bundle. So you want to reduce the price of printer bundle to probably X amount or X percentage, or override its price completely, depends on how you want to do it. But the condition should be that this printer bundle should be purchased under the laptop pro bundle. So that's how that's how the bundle adjustment works, bundle based adjustment works. So you can relate this to promotions in Salesforce industry. So you had the capability to define a promotion, and then under bundle you can select what product gets discount. So similar way, bundle based adjustment also gives you the capability to have a precondition of that bundle and then define a discount on any child of that bundle. Okay. Moving on to the next, attribute based adjustment. So attribute based adjustment, as the name suggests, that these are the adjustments or discounts provided based on the value of an attribute you select during your product configuration time. So for an example, if customer is buying a monitor with a specific display resolution, such as one is 1080p, the price will be overridden to $199. Yeah. So how it is defined in the system is basically, you can see here on the screenshot, where it says that product would be the monitor. Then there is a rule for that attribute, and under that rule you define that if the the monitor display type is X, then override the price to this adjustment value, right? This is it's pretty cool feature. I liked it very much because I have worked on Salesforce industries, and there were so many use cases coming up where clients wanted to do attribute adjustment, but we had to go to the custom way because of it's not supported. But now coming to the RLM, it gives you the capability to even define go at the attribute level to define your discounts and override or provide the discount promotion to the customer based on the attribute value of a product. Pretty cool, right? Okay. Moving on to next, volume-based adjustment. So volume-based adjustments are basically, when you are encouraging a customer to purchase a bulk quantity from your store or from your website. You are encouraging them to, when you are selecting a bulk quantity, you will get some kind of discount. So to give that kind of discount, you have to define volume-based adjustment inside the product catalog. How it works, basically, you define a decision table. You have to select, the criteria of that volume base, whether it could be, and the lower bound and upper bound basically relates to your quantity you are purchasing. So in this example, it is telling that if you are buying a product between the quantity 10 and 100, you will get 15% discount on the total amounts. So for an example, a customer is buying 50 laptops. Probably it's cost around $1,000 each, which makes it $50,000. But since the quantity is purchased between 10 and 100 units, he's going to get 15% discount. And when you apply the 15% discount, the total cost becomes $42,500. Right? So that's how the volume-based discount works. Moving on to the next, discount calendar. Another cool feature of product catalog management. Here it gives you the capability to have or your 360-degree view of a product, of its prices and the discounts it has. So basically, under a product you can have multiple type of adjustments, like I explained earlier: volume based, attribute based adjustment, or bundle based adjustment, right? So discount calendar basically shows you how these discounts or adjustment could be applied on the product, and what dates and how long it will run. So in this example, you can see, this is a bundle based adjustment, and it shows that after, on September 1st, 2024, this discount will start, and it will go for the whole month. And similarly, it will also, you have the capability to define other volume based and bundle based also. So how it will show, it will have basically a different bar, horizontal bar, which will have different colors. So green will indicate it is volume based discount, red will indicate it is attribute based discount, and a blue bar will indicate, as it is showing in this example, bundle based discount, right? So this also gives you a holistic view when you are, if you are a product manager, you want to see how this product will behave when you're launching a campaign or promotion. You want to see how this discount will be applied, how long it will be applied, and what kind of discounts it will give, right? So that's all about discount calendar. Okay. So pricing rules are basically, when you are um, designing your pricing solution, you have now different kind of capabilities, defining the decision tables, defining the discounts, how these decision tables will work to on conditions, what kind of input it needs and what kind of output it needs. So all these decision tables, your adjustment rules, discount rules are considered as pricing rules. So you can achieve, having all these rules, you can basically achieve complex pricing, simple pricing, or totally customized pricing, right? It depends on the business case you are doing it. Pricing rules give you the capability to achieve the target price you want for that product. Okay. Third party integration. So we have under RLM, we have different kind of APIs for each component, but today we'll focus on the pricing. So pricing also has its own APIs defined, and different kind of to execute different kind of functionality for executing the pricing, defining the context, checking out the pricing recipe. You have different kind of pricing APIs listed here. And pricing APIs give you the capability to connect these APIs to any third-party system where you can, invoke these APIs and, use these pricing API as an external pricing API and price that product on your, self-service portal or any other, interface you have. So Salesforce pricing gives you this capability as well to, make it fully customizable. And also you can, execute these API, call these API via Apex as well, and I have just, pasted a screenshot of calling these APIs from a Postman, how you, what kind of input body, what kind of, API it is. So you can have this configure this API as a Postman collection, and you can execute and test this API, of calling it from the Postman, right? So it's make this pricing solution, quite robust and, quite configurable, quite adaptable, scalable, where, you have different kind of capabilities, executing the pricing on platform and off platform as well. Moving on to the next. Salesforce pricing and flow. So you can also invoke this pricing procedure from a flow. So imagine a scenario, you are on, you want to have, you want to price a custom object, and you have, kind of a button, custom button on that object. You want to invoke the flow from there. You can basically, invoke a configure a flow. You have a predefined pricing action, which is called Salesforce pricing, which requires, a context ID and a pricing procedure name as an input, which basically will use your, whatever input you have defined as your context definition to price that custom object and provide you the final pricing for that product or that object, right? So you have the also capability, of, there are like two type of APIs, REST and, headless. So you can basically supply the context in the API, or you can, invoke it as a headless as well. So it's give you both kind of capability. Okay, coming to omni-channel pricing. So Salesforce pricings basically give you the capability to price anything. So name it, you have your standard object, you have your custom object. You want to use different parameters based on your custom object, custom fields or standard fields. You have the capability to, extend some existing solution or design your own complete pricing, customized pricing solution based on standard objects like quotes, order, opportunities, or any other custom objects. And good thing is that, it's not too difficult to do it because it doesn't require to code. You can, use a easy setup, configurable setup to do it, and basically, you are ready with your solution just by, configuring, using a configuration layouts and configuration methods, and it will basically your solution will be ready. So you don't have to be trained developer, you don't have to know Apex completely. You can, just work with the configuration, right? That's really nice. Okay, coming to the flow, pricing end-to-end flow. So how we have talked about all the features and entities, it's going to, your pricing solution going to use, but how the flow works, how these flow, entities comes into picture, and, how it is executed. So here you can see that, on the left block there are like data, which is design time data, which is used and consumed by the consuming layer, which is, it can be used by EPC, CPQ, OM, CLM, or any other app you want to use. It can fetch the data for design time data from the catalog. Then you have your, pricing tables, promotions, discount list, price configured, your pricing was configured, and then you have your pricing procedure, which consists of, different pricing elements and the order it execute, and the rules is execute, and basically gives you the final price. So how the flow will work, you and on the platform, you execute, you create your quote or order, and you add the product into the cart. So once you add that product into the cart or you configure that product with the attributes, it's basically going to invoke the pricing procedure, which will flow through the defined pricing elements or ordered pricing element in the pricing procedure and execute that defined formulas, defined calculation formulas, what you have inside your pricing procedure, go through each step and gives you the final price. With it will utilize the data. It will fetch the data from context definition. It will fetch the data from the decision tables, and executing and evaluating everything and executing each step, and finally giving you the result. It could be a list price, contract price, or it could be a discounted price, or attribute based price, or volume discount, right? So that's how the flow works for pricing end to end. Okay, so similarly with as I explained product catalog, we also had similar entities which are where the names are similar. Mostly the names are similar, but there are a few entities which are different name or have different name in RLM, but functionality is similar to industry CPQ entities. So like for example, product selling model are pricing frequencies, where it tells your product how it is built, monthly, quarterly, or yearly. Then you have pricing adjustment schedules, where in industry CPQ it's promotion, discount. Then attribute based adjustments are attribute based promotion. Bundle based adjustment are basically your promotions, discount based on the bundle. You have price adjustment tier, which are basically volume based discount or promotion. And finally the pricing procedure are similar to pricing plan in industry CPQ, right? Okay, so that's conclude our presentation, and then now we will move on to the pricing demo, and we'll see some action during the demo and real-time entities. So let's move to the demo. Okay, so we have gone through all the slides and details on the Salesforce pricing. So let's look into the real time how this everything is configured, or how it looks like into the system. Okay, so in this org, you can come into again app launcher and search for the price management app, which will basically bring you to this page, home page here, which list the entities you can configure under the price management, price book, pricing procedure, pricing adjustment schedules, product. And then you also have the guided setup. So which is please note that it is very important before you go into configuring these elements. You have to set up your pricing, complete your pricing admin setup. Okay, so for now, I mean, even before configuring these entities or these elements for pricing, what we have to do is to complete the prerequisite or prepare the context or input data where these entities will use. Okay, so let's go and look into this. So you have to go into the setup and basically type context. So here you can see the context service. As I explained, this is the building block or the foundation of your pricing service. If it is not defined, your pricing will fail, it will not run. So the prerequisite is to define your pricing, define your context service for your pricing first, and then define your all other elements for the pricing. So let's so before going into the context service, you have to come to context service setting. You have to enable it to use the context definition. Once you enable this, you can go into context definition, and here you will basically it will come with some preloaded context definition. For just an example, you cannot use this as your during the runtime. It is just an example for you to refer. So what you can do, you have an option to basically go and clone or extend this context definition, and then basically modify them, right? So as I explained, the context definitions are basically used to build how your input data will flow to the pricing procedure, right? So we will look into one of the example here, which is Salesforce transaction context extend. Normal details here, name, effective date, active. Important thing to notice here, time to live. So time to live basically works something, the concept of caching, right? So it will it is telling that this context will be available or it will be live in the system for the 10 minutes, and then it will get refreshed. So basically when you're running your pricing or you're executing your pricing, this context definition will be there in the memory for 10 minutes, and then it will be refreshed again. Okay. Going to the structure. So here you have the capability to define the canonical structure I was talking about previously. These are basically the nodes you want to flow in the data into, right? So under this, each node you have the capability to basically define these attributes. So let me go and click edit. So it will bring you in the normal configuration screen, and here this screen will basically allow you to add this or create this canonical structure and the node name. So here you are telling that I am working in a sales transaction. So your sales transaction could be either could be order or it could be a quote, depends on your business case. So you can create a different name for it as well. So it doesn't matter. But the thing is how you map it, which objects you want to bring in, that will matter. Okay, so you can create these canonical structure, and under each canonical structure you have the capability to basically add the child underneath or add a sibling node beside it, and that's how it will look like, right? And then when you configure doing when you configure these nodes and complete configuration of this node, what you can do, you can go to next, and then you have the capability to define the attributes under each node. So if I go into Salesforce transaction inherited, you can see all these attributes are under this node. And for example, price adjustment, status code, contract, list price, shipping city. So all this information I want to bring in to my pricing procedure to basically price the product, right? It could be these many number of fields. If you're pricing, if you want to have simple pricing, depends on what input data you want to bring in. You can configure the attribute accordingly, right? And then you have to define what type of attribute it is, how whether it will be used in input or output, or it will be used in both input and output, then what data type it has, and any reference object, right? So here, from here, you have the capability to add this attribute. Going to the next. So when you move to the next, here you will define the tags basically for each your node or your attribute name, right? So sales transaction is your node which you created during defining your context definition, and this is the tag name. Basically it's right now it's same, but you have the capability to rename or change the name. But important to note that these tags will be used in your pricing procedure. When you are configuring or developing your pricing procedure, these tags will be used there. So please configure accordingly, so that what tags are related to what. And you can always come back and check and what tags and what nodes are related to each other, right? So if I look into the let's in line item thing, item details, so you can see under item you have item details, text related details, line number, quantity, unit, net price, and related text for that node or attribute, right? So after doing all this configuration, you will press save, and this is how it will look like after the configuration, right? So this is only the half part. You have created your context service, you have created your canonical structure for that context definition, then you have created nodes and attribute. But how data will come to this nodes and attribute. For that, you have to define the mapping, right? Context mapping. So let's take an example of mapping here, quotes entity. Okay, let me open it. So when you click map, it basically will enter into this screen, which is which gives you the capability to basically map each node to the corresponding source object here, right? So if I hover over any of the relationship, you can see that what entity it is related to. And if I go into account here, so you can see uh, account is related to the node. First node is, this node is source node is sales transaction, and the source object for that node is code. So under this sales transaction node, you have different attributes, right? Under different attributes, and you have the capability to map each attribute to its relevant source field. So for example, for account, it is mapped to the account ID under the code, and then there are different other fields like status, billing state, and those are all mapped to its relevant source field. So that's how you basically define the mapping to bring your data from the system or source object or standard object, or it could be a custom object, right? Here you have the plus sign to basically add any field or any object under it, and then basically map to your attributes and nodes. And that's how during the runtime it will know, or it will fetch the data from its source entities and evaluate. It will be evaluated during your pricing calculation. Okay, so yeah, that's all about the context mapping. And then this interface is really cool. I mean, earlier probably you have to define, you don't have to, you don't have that kind of capability or visual view of this mapping. You have to go and each entity and then map, but this gives you in a very clear picture and capability to map this very easily, all entities very easily, right? Okay, so that's all on the context mapping. Let's move to the next entity called decision tables. Okay, so here basically again, some of the decision tables will be coming as pre-configured. Then you have the capability to create your own custom decision table. What you have to do basically, let's look into the product qualification. Here you can define the column names and the fields it going to use for to data to bring in, whether it is required, optional, its lookup, and the operators, and basically the output field. So these decision table here, you can define the structure of these decision tables and what type of decision tables you want to create. You can create it here, and then you are basically populating this decision table data during your configuration of either it could be your qualification rule, or it could be your pricing rule, it could be your adjustments, bundle based adjustment, attribute adjustments, or any other entities, right? So that's how you have to define the decision tables. Moving on to the next entity, let's go to the pricing setup. Okay, so under Salesforce pricing setup, you will find the entity called pricing recipe, right? Here you have the capability to define this pricing recipe and your pricing procedure. So this is basically, this setup tells you that when the pricing is executed, which pricing recipe is going to be used and what pricing procedure is going to use, right? Another important thing to note here is this job sync pricing data. So what it does basically, whenever you make any changes into the system, into the design time for the any pricing related change, you have to run this job to have to synchronize that data into the system, and then only your pricing will work efficiently or accurately. Otherwise, if there is some mismatch in the data, it will result into error, or your pricing will not work during the sales process or quotation process. Then couple of items here. Pricing waterfall basically tells you when you look into the quotation screen, it basically tells you how your price is calculated, what are the entities involved into it. So you can enable or disable both of them if you depends on how your requirements are. Okay. So these are all the prerequisite you have to do before you jump into configuring the entities for to define the prices. So come here, complete this setup, and then basically move to your application called price management, right? So now here you have the capability to now define the pricing procedure. So let me go into the pricing procedure. So you have completed your context service, context mapping, context definitions. You have completed your decision tables. Now it's time to define the pricing procedure. So let's look into one of the pricing procedure. Let's open this again. So this also the pricing procedure also needs context definition. Like I explained earlier, we have to define this as a prerequisite, and then you can select whatever context definition you have defined for your pricing. You can select it here, and then you have the capability to create the pricing procedure here. So it is right now for me it's created. So I will open, and we will go through how this pricing procedure looks like into the system. Okay. Now as explained that this pricing procedure is consist of all the pricing elements uh, ordered or stacked together in a sequential manner to go through each step to fulfill the net unit price or the final price for any product, right? uh, on the left side on this panel, again this is a expression set. On the left side you can see the resources, uh, what it brings in. So since we have selected the sales transaction context definition here, you can see that it will bring all the sales, I mean all the data or tags we have created under that context definition, and you can see all these tags here, which will be used basically under in your input variable, output variable. Here you can see this is a tag for output variable. If there are any additional variable, it will be used for, let's say, price book entries. Here you can see that these are the tags which are being used for these pricing procedures. Okay. Coming back to the elements here. So these are the predefined elements coming to to work on your pricing or to add to your pricing procedure. So these involves aggregate price, assignments, attribute based price, bundle based price. So these are like predefined structure or predefined element, what input is going to use and what output it will bring in. So you can basically you don't have to configure by your own, or you have to create your own. You can basically use this predefined attribute if any of the criteria of your pricing satisfies these business case or these elements. You can use these predefined elements to configure that pricing inside your pricing procedure, right? So this is how it looks like. So this is the whole pricing procedure for I would say it comes into the complex pricing structure, but that could be also a simple pricing procedure. You just want to price based on couple of fields or couple of attributes, only use a couple of objects, you can simplify this pricing procedure into based on your criteria, and you can invoke that pricing procedure from an API, from the flow, or from directly from the platform or Apex. Okay, so hope this give you better picture on the pricing procedure and its elements and how you can use them. Going back to the home page of price management, and the next element is price book. So I think most of the folks would be aware of this element, price book. It's basically helps you to define the selling price. So, and this is how it looks like. You can add, or you can create new price list entry, and you can add the products and define the price for that. Then you can similarly, you have the capability to define your cost book, which is basically, as I explained, it basically the cost is basically what products are, or the products for the product manager, how much this product cost, and on top of that they can add some margin and sell their price, and that selling price is configured inside the price book. So you have the capability to define both standard price book, cost price books, and cost books, and then respectively price book entries and cost book entries. Okay, moving on to price adjustment schedules. Very important and very useful here. So as I explained, there are like three types of price adjustment schedules: volume based, bundle, and attribute. So let's look into each of them, starting with volume based adjustment. Normal details here again, description, effective date, and all, and what price book it is using. Then if you go into the pricing adjustment tiers, you will see the entries, or you have the capability to create a new pricing adjustment tier from here, and basically fill out the details based on the conditions you are. So let's look into one of the pricing adjustment tier. So this adjustment, volume based adjustment, basically is telling that when you have your lower bound 5 and upper bound 5, which is basically nothing but quantity, if the quantity range falls in between 5 and 10, you will going to get the 10% discount for that product, which is monitor, and the product selling model is one time. So that's how you can configure the volume based discount here. Then going to the bundle based, let's look same details and same interface here as well, and basically the fields, but configuration fields would be different here. So here you can you have the fields to configure what bundle it is, what would be the parent product, and what would be the actual product to give the discount on, right? So here this example, it is basically saying that you should be your product should be your bundle should be laptop basic bundle, and then the actual product which is getting discount is antivirus, right? And what type of selling model it is? One time selling model. What type of adjustment it is? Amount, absolute amount, and then the adjustment would be 49. So whatever the price antivirus product has, it will be provided the adjustment value with adjustment with absolute amount of $49.99 or any other currency. Okay, going to the attribute based adjustment. Same details here as well, but the rules, obviously the rules criteria would be different here. So let's go into one of them. Again, here you can see that you have the product on which you want to give the discount, and the rule here. The important thing to notice you have to attach the rule here to basically tell the condition what attribute and value it is using. We will look into this in a minute. So coming here on additional details, what type of adjustment type, effective date, and the adjustment value here, right? So these are the details telling you that how long this adjustment will be available, the type of adjustment, and the value of the adjustment. Now let's look into the rule. So let's look into this condition here. So what this condition is telling is that on the product, when my product laptop is in the cart, and when I'm selecting the attribute battery, and the value is this string value, when this condition matches, then I'm going to get the discount, right? Another example could be of, customer wants to run a promotion for a specific iPhone model or iPhone storage type. So it could be iPhone with storage type 512 gig will get the discount of X percentage or X amount, right? Same conditions, you can define it here for this kind of scenario, right? Yeah, so that's all on the pricing adjustment schedules. Okay. The next I want to highlight it to you that you also have the capability to invoke the pricing from the flow, and let's look into one of the example here. So you can go into the flows here under the setup, and then I have created a flow for this demo, but you can create your own flow. You can define your own criterias or conditions, define the flow for this flow. What it is using is basically a predefined action which comes with the Salesforce pricing. Here you can see this is the predefined action here, Salesforce pricing I'm using, and what input it is using is the context ID. So this is the context ID I'm going to use, and the pricing procedure name. So I can invoke the flow from anywhere from any object, and basically I will provide the context to that flow, and this pricing procedure will be used for this flow to price that product. So this is how you can also, configure flows to invoke the pricing, from the flow. Okay. Okay. So let's. Okay. So next thing I want to explain you about third-party integrations, how you can integrate or invoke the APIs using any kind of integration, whether it is from Salesforce on platform, you want to invoke this API from off platform. So Salesforce pricing gives you the capability of provides you the APIs to invoke it from either third-party system or from internally using Apex or integration procedures or any other means here, for where you can invoke these APIs. So it has you can configure the if you want to test the API, you can configure this Postman collection. There are different type of APIs for each entities, but today we are focusing on the pricing. So here are the example of the core pricing. You have, you can get the details for price waterfall. If you want to run the pricing, you can invoke the post call with supplying the information like context definition, mapping ID, and other details which is as expect as a parameter. So basically these you can execute, you can call these APIs outside and execute your pricing accordingly. Okay. So this brings me to the conclusion of the Salesforce pricing as well. So hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video and got some info on product catalog management and Salesforce pricing. Thanks for watching this. Over to you, Georgi.
All right, thank you, Anuj, for taking us through the product catalog management and Salesforce pricing and the demos. Hopefully that clears up all the functionality that's available there. And now we will do a wrap up. So if you're looking to get hands-on with revenue lifecycle management, if you're a Salesforce partner or employee, you can go to Partner Learning Camp from the partner community, go to the Demo Org tab at the top, and choose the demo org type of SDO or a simple demo org. This will have revenue lifecycle management enabled, but mostly not configured. So you'll have to set up some products, their structure, attributes, et cetera, enable and configure Salesforce pricing, et cetera. So if you want to kind of start from scratch with RLM, do all of the configuration and play around with it, this would be the best option. These orgs last for 1 year, and you can raise a partner support case to extend them for should mean do that again. I messed it up. All right, thank you, Anuj, for walking us through product catalog management or PCM and Salesforce pricing. Hopefully that clears up all of the functionality. Do it again. All right, thank you, Anuj, for taking us through product catalog management and Salesforce pricing. That really summarizes the functionalities that are available, and we got a chance to see them in action. So now I'll take us through a quick wrap up. If you're looking at getting hands-on with revenue lifecycle management, if you are a Salesforce partner or employee, you can go to Partner Learning Camp from the partner community. On Partner Learning Camp, go to the Demo Org tab and choose SDO as the demo org type. SDO is simple demo org. This has revenue lifecycle management enabled, but it's mostly not configured. So you'll have to set up products, attributes, rules, pricing, et cetera. But this would be the best way to kind of start from scratch and go through the whole setup and configuration process. These orgs are available for 1 month, and you can extend them for up to 1 year by raising a partner support case. The other option is that you can use the TrialForce ID to spin up an org that has a lot of the setup already completed. So some products, some pricing, et cetera, but you'll have to complete the rest of the setup steps. So this would be the best option if you want to get started as quickly as possible and start tweaking and playing around with your use cases. You can go to the partner community for Revenue Cloud and look at the RLM Partner Pocket Guide with details on that and the TrialForce ID. As of filming this video in August 2024, we're not aware of options for customers or others in the ecosystem to get hands-on with RLM, but knowing Salesforce, the enablement is a key part, so we're sure it's on the way. Then in terms of the enablement resources for RLM, the best place to start is the Salesforce help documentation. It's quite thorough and covers all of the modules that we covered today and that we'll cover in this whole series. On Trailhead, there is a module available for revenue lifecycle management foundations. And interestingly enough, we can see some of the industries listed here. You know, maybe this is a sneak peek at what industries RLM will be addressing going forward. So far, there are not other Trailhead modules, but again, we're sure they are on the way in the future. If you're a partner or employee, again, check out the Partner Pocket Guide on the partner community. There's a getting hands-on section with links to a lot of great materials there. And that's it for now. Please do follow Apex Hours, follow me, Georgi, follow Anuj, follow Stratus Carta for more RLM enablement content. We would love to produce additional content for you guys. If you have any ideas of something specific you would like us to cover, please comment on this video, comment on this post, reach out to us directly. We would be happy to record some more content. Just let us know what you would like to see. In terms of enablement resources for Omni Studio has been around for a while, and luckily there's quite a lot available. There is a great series on Apex Hours for Omni Studio with about 11 modules or so that goes through kind of an introduction, goes through each of the different modules available in both a basic and advanced format. It covers the deployment piece, Omni Out, and best practices. So this is kind of a good quick start course for everything Omni Studio. There's some great Salesforce help documentation there as well, and a bunch of materials on Trailhead. So if you're looking for Omni Studio specifically, quite a lot available now. And what's next? So in this session, we covered the introduction, product catalog, and Salesforce pricing. In the next session, we will cover the product configurator or CPQ, dynamic revenue orchestration or DRO, and an end-to-end end user demo as well. In the last session, we will cover Salesforce contracts and document generation. So stay tuned for both of those. And finally, please follow us on Apex Hours on Twitter or X. Follow the account Apex Hours. Use the hashtag Salesforce Apex Hours. Check out the website, apexhours.com. Follow us on LinkedIn, search for Apex Hours, and check out the YouTube channel where all of the materials are available. So that's it for this session. See you on the next RLM session. Thanks, everyone, and have a good day.